Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2 with Sam and Jennifer. On today's episode, we are going to talk about how do you prep for a tournament after a hiatus.
We're also going to talk about day before tournament preparations as well as weather because, the elements are not always for us or against us, but we have to prep either way. And this is What's Up with the Wheelings. This is going to be a channel that we are going to discuss mostly disc golf.
She done. Yeah.
Professionals.
This is the way I live. Little boy still with the big wheels. I stack my money lay low.
All right, so on today's episode, like I said, we're going to talk about prepping after taking a hiatus. One of the big things that we want to talk about is what we do, and by me, I mean mainly her. We'll kind of explain that here in a second, but basically, what goes on in your head, or what do you do to prepare yourself for a season? So, with the cold weather months, usually, there's some people that can play, some people can't, so it's really hard for them to get back out into the swing of things. So they got to wait for better weather, or maybe I got some friends up in Wisconsin that the baskets don't even go back in the ground until a certain time. So, they have to travel to new courses. One of the things for me is I really don't take a hiatus. If I get injured, I'll be out a couple weeks or so, whatever it may be. I did throw my back out earlier this year. I had already played 7 events since the year it started. So I was playing a lot, playing as much as I could before all this had happened with COVID. Jennifer, how many rounds do you think you've already played since COVID?
Oh, me. Well, if you consider the actual tournament in Mississippi, that was 2-3 rounds that we were down there. And then I think maybe I've played maybe a handful, recreational, just going out and playing at our courses before they kind of, tell people to be cautious and not really go to the parks. I mean, you still can go to the parks, but they were kind of restricting a lot of
right.
Distance and stuff, obviously. But
I guess we're a little lucky. So a lot of our parks, the baskets were not pulled. We did have some surrounding counties where the baskets were pulled. Because of that, a lot of people were coming into town, causing, I guess, our courses to be a little bit stacked. There's a lot of people out playing, which is kind of nice, especially for growing the sport. The only downside about that is you were having large groups. And we did talk locally, especially with the local Bluegrass Disc Golf Association Club, about, what we could do to be proactive. Did we need to put signs out? We noticed that the Natty, so up Cincinnati area, they had to put out signs. They had people at Idlewild, like eight-man groups at Idlewild. Even during doubles, I would not play with 8 people if you're playing Idlewild, unless they're playing shorts.
yeah, only the shorts really. Longs are, no thank you.
Yeah, we've played there a few times. We've done the Idlewild doubles before. That was very entertaining.
It's a great course, but it's a beast, and I can't even imagine that many people playing that course at one time. And oh my goodness, no, thank you.
What was it? Our doubles round was 3.5, almost 4 hours.
Easily 2 rounds of that at least, and that's not even accommodating for checking and finding discs that happen to get off the fairways on a few holes.
Yeah, that's why you're not supposed to do that. So guys, ladies, we know there's several out there playing. So what is it that you do? Comment below. Reach out to us. If you have any ideas about stuff. Maybe with Jennifer, we don't have a lot of women locally that play. So we have her, Allison Miller, which is local. We have a few other girls that we see out playing, and we do try to invite them. I think they get a little intimidated by watching you play or watching other people play, and they're just like, oh, I'm not as good as her. But I don't think they understand, we just want more people to play. And so
most of the time when I hear that the reason ladies aren't playing is because they play with their spouses or their boyfriends or their significant others, and they just enjoy playing just strictly with them. They're afraid that if they start playing competitively or joining our leagues and start playing that where they are just starting, they're beginners, that they're not going to be up to the level to hang with the people that have been, playing for years or have been playing long enough to actually know what they're doing, know what their discs are doing, know more about the sport. So they're intimidated to start playing.
Well,
And I mean, I don't know, maybe they see me playing and they're like, no, I'm not playing with this girl just because, it's going to take me 3 throws to get to her. Like, I don't know. I just know from talking to other ladies about playing and like asking them why they don't, play more competitively or don't come to leagues is because they only like to play with their significant others.
but I mean, I guess it's twofold. So, I mean, if we want more women to play, we've got to be inviting, and just kind of like when we first started playing. Like, we got in with the club and everybody was very inviting. They gave us discs to try. They would help us throw certain shots. I don't, we don't really know. But, going back to the topic, of course, after a hiatus, I mean, it's just, practice rounds, getting out playing, and, just while you're out playing, just make sure you enjoy it. You want to be competitive. So if you have some thoughts, too, on what you do to be competitive during your round, some of the things that we do is we'll swap discs, or she'll have to pick the disc that I throw on a hole. She likes doing that because she knows I suck at throwing a forehand, so there's, certain shots I can't throw. So, just kind of comment, like I said, about what you would do, and then, or what you have done. I know a lot of you guys can't play year-round. Some of us can play year-round. Jennifer, I mean, you don't even play much during the winter. Like, it's too cold, right?
Yeah, it's like I don't necessarily dislike the cold. I don't prefer it. I'm not the biggest fan of playing disc golf when it gets cold and the snow's on the ground and it's like below 30 degrees, maybe not even 32 really. Because
when it's below
32 degrees,
okay.
You know what I meant. But my arm just is not accommodating to the cold weather. I played sports most of my life, and I think a lot of that has to play a part in it. But, part of it is conditioning. My arm's not conditioned for the cold weather, and I'm predominantly a forehand thrower. So, it's a different motion. And I know some backhand players feel the same way. They just refuse to play because it's too cold or whatever. But the cold affects my arm a little bit differently. And unless it's like a big tournament or a tournament I really want to play and it just happens to fall, in the wintertime, in the fall, and it happens to be cold, I'll play, I'll just make sure I layer up and kind of get myself prepared for that. But if I can avoid playing a lot of rounds in the cold, I'm going to.
Right. Yeah. I play if there's 4 inches of snow on the ground, which for us is a lot of snow, but isn't a lot compared to most places. But I really think the biggest thing is, for prepping after hiatus is just getting out and play, try to get your rhythm back, muscle memory.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we're fortunate. We can, depending on how bad the winter actually is, I mean, it gets cold for us, but we can still get out and play. They don't pull our baskets. I've got some friends that are up in Wisconsin, and their baskets get pulled and aren't even into the ground until, I don't know, almost March. So we have our baskets year round, so we can go play whenever, which is kind of nice. So
yeah.
But yeah. So anything else you can think of?
The only thing I can think of is just coming back after a hiatus, like if it's off of an injury, or even if you're just one of those people that just hasn't played in a few months. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say go full on and play like 3 rounds in one day. Like, that's just idiotic. Like, you're gonna regret that for the next few days, and you're not gonna be able to play. I would just suggest, I mean, if you want to go play around, like work on something small. Like if you're wanting to work on like maybe some mid-range up shots, like maybe just focus on that. Like maybe don't like throw 5 drives off of the tee. Maybe throw like a drive or 2 and then work on like an upshot, or just go and do field work, or just start simple in your backyard and toss with a friend, neighbor, a family member, and just toss the disc or putt. Like, keep it simple and then kind of work your way back up to it. I mean, I'm not one to prep and play every single day, but for those of you that, can't stand not playing every single day, like that's just something simple to get back into. Just, find the small things in it.
Well, I mean, I know when I hurt my back, my first round back that I felt comfortable, I went and played a big course. So I basically was just testing my arm and my back and seeing if, I could get some of my distance down. And I really wasn't throwing bad, but I will say that I didn't have the distance, and it could be just not trusting my back or just muscle memory and not having that pull through. So did get that fixed. So all right, well, I guess we'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. So we'll let you start this one out.
Okay, so our next topic, we wanted to briefly discuss kind of like day before tournament preparations. Like, what do you do before a tournament? Like, do you guys have like a certain ritual or something that you do? Like, do you choose not to play at all before the tournament? Like, you want to be completely fresh, 100% when you get up to wherever you're going the next day? Or are you one of those people that like, oh, I got to go play a quick round just because I need to see what I need to work on? Do you just go putt? Like, whatever the case may be. I know that we actually, this past weekend, when we were going to go play Holler in the Hills, we had intended, I think, on playing like a small round on Friday or like putting or something, and we ended up not doing that. And I don't know if it was necessarily planned or we just didn't think about it.
Well, we played Thursday, but we also played, so we played a local course here called River Hill. It's a 9-hole course. And most holes, we were throwing 2 or 3 shots. So we played there. So Holler in the Hills is in Brownsville, Kentucky. It's not a big course. Like there's some big holes, I guess you would say, but really the furthest hole was only 360. Well,
no, that was a longer one.
Hole 4.
It's like,
I'll have to look up how long that one is.
I think it was like 400, wasn't it?
Oh, it was definitely longer than 400.
Okay.
Because getting past the trees was a decent shot. So
yeah.
But so what do you like to do?
Me, for me personally, well, I like to check the weather and see what the weather's going to be like wherever we're going, regardless, just so I can get myself kind of prepared, like, because for me, I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes attire makes a big difference on how I'm going to throw. Like, if I'm layering up for, really cold weather, I know that certain discs are not going to fly the way that I normally do because I'm going to be a little more restricted. But I like to just putt mostly, maybe just a little passing in the backyard, putting. I don't really like to get full on like throwing and launching a bunch of like drivers and mid ranges because I don't really want my arm to be completely worn out by the next day because, depending on where we're playing, the length of the course, how many rounds you're playing that day, like I don't want to have like 2 rounds on Friday, 2 rounds on Saturday, and then a big long course on Sunday. Like I'd be dead. And my arm, I don't think could hold out on something like that. So I just like to keep it simple. Putting is my Achilles heel anyway. So I'd like to just putt and rest and kind of get myself prepared for the tournament mentally as best as I can. I think that's more what I'd like to do before.
So mentally prepare yourself.
Yeah, that's me.
I guess we're opposite. So I would rather go out and play. I've got a few buddies that I'll play with, and especially like Mike Bloom, Kevin McGregor. I'll go out and play and have a really good round the day before a tournament. And it will suck because the whole time I'm thinking, well, there goes my good round. And I try not to think of it like that. So I do try to play the same way at the tournament as I did during my practice round. If I have a bad round the day before a tournament, then I'm like, okay, get the bad round out. That way tomorrow will be a good day. Now, I can't say it works out like that every time because I've only got 5 tournament wins total. We've played, I don't know, probably a good 100 events or something. So, it's just get out and play. So as far as me for prepping, I would agree. I'd say I try to go to bed earlier than normal, usually because when we have to get up and go play, we're traveling the day of the tournament. Usually Holler in Hills was roughly 2.5 hours away from where we live. So we were up at 5:45 in the morning, and they're an hour behind us. So really it was 4:45 of their time, but we wanted to have enough time that by the time we got down there, we could play a few holes. And we got down there with like maybe an hour, about an hour before the round started. So we were able to play a few, which was, kind of nice. But yeah, I would agree. Putting, resting the day before is probably best. I'm just one of those people. I do like to get out and throw around, just try to make sure that mentally I'm prepared for, how my round's going to go. So if I'm playing bad the day before, then I'm like, okay, just tomorrow I need to throw smoother forehands or, slow down my run up or just worry about my X step or whatever it is.
Yeah, see, I can't do that because if I'm already thinking about my shots on the day before and then I go and I think about my shots on Saturday, that's already too much thinking for me because when I start overthinking my shots, then nothing works. And then I'm out like I'm already out. Like even after like the first couple holes, if I do something that I know I shouldn't have done, and I'm like, oh man, I worked on this yesterday and I should have known better, and I don't do it, then I'm mentally out for a while, and I can't do that. I can't get out of my head fast enough.
I mean, that makes sense too. I guess part of the thing, to do the day before a tournament prep is also just prep for the round. So, we like to make sure we have our bag together, make sure we have everything. And the biggest thing is I have to have my mini. I've got a mini that my good friend Ken Mango made for us. For me, he made, you've got your own that he's made from tournaments we've hosted. And, just make sure my bag is ready and prep. I have all the discs that I need in it. I don't know. I mean, is there anything else that you can think of to prep the day before a tournament besides getting your bag ready, mentally preparing, and I know the next topic will be just preparing for the weather itself. That's kind of the next big thing, but anything else you can think of?
I think just besides getting what you just said, I think one of the big things also is if it's available. I think sometimes looking at the course itself, like maybe looking at a course map and seeing where certain holes are, right. So you can kind of prepare your bag accordingly. Because I mean, if you're going to a course that's predominantly maybe forehand, like all the baskets are more in the right placements and not like super long, like you might not want to pack a lot of discs, fairway drivers that you're going to blow past the basket every time. You might want to like add a few more mid ranges and maybe have a few extras just in case if there's water in place or anything, right. Just in case you do lose one. But yeah, I think just looking at a course map and just seeing kind of what you're going to be up against and getting yourself prepared that way. I think that's the only other thing that I can think of, because I think looking at a course map is pretty critical, especially if you've never played the course. If you've played the course multiple times, you probably don't need it just because you're used to it. You don't necessarily need to think about it. But if you've never seen it, like we've never played Hollering Hills, or I know I haven't. And
we watched the walkthrough that someone had posted.
Yeah, it was like a YouTube like flyover, and it was very helpful to see it, and then also getting there early enough to actually see some of the holes was helpful too.
Right. Well, I mean, in the video that we watched, which note to self, if you're going to post a walkthrough of a course, please post every hole.
Please.
And again, it's nothing against this guy, because I mean, the walkthrough that we watched, I think the course was almost brand new. So the course was not redesigned, but you could say it was redeveloped. It had overgrown and stuff like that. So there was people doing some work, and the video that we watched basically made it look like there was no grass, pure mud everywhere. So it was a slopping mess.
Apparently it was taken after a very rainy couple of days, and then they were just like, this is a good day, let's just go shoot where the holes are. And that course is not, I mean, you can see where it would be like that.
It was muddy,
but it was not quite like that. And we can see how some of the holes were very treacherous, which we will actually have clips of this tournament. I think in our next episode, you'll see more of that tournament.
Yeah, it'll be, so the next episode, of course, we'll show a little bit about that, but we're actually going to just post our second round video, so you'll get to see that. We'll commentate on that one. So that'll kind of be like a bonus video, I guess you would say, of our round, which was kind of nice.
You'll see the conditions we were talking about. It wasn't bad at all. It was just a little warm. It wasn't muddy at all. It was a nice day. It was a nice day. They've maintained the course pretty well. So we're no complaints here.
Tee pads were nice. Yeah. I mean they've done a really good job on the prep work. So, but yeah, that is a good thing to watch the video. We did that for the Mississippi one.
Yep.
And thank God we did on that one, because that tournament, I had taken a Zuka cart, and after watching the video, I needed a bag. Luckily, there was a vendor on site, so I was able to buy a bag. But some people did haul their Zuka carts around, but it's not as Zuka cart friendly as some of the courses.
Definitely not.
So that, I would say that's definitely a big thing. Is if you can find a walkthrough, get on Disc Golf Scene, or any site where maybe it's a local club page where they have the videos, or even just a course map to kind of show you what the hole is like. Keep in mind, walkthroughs are nice if they're updated. Course maps are nice if they're updated, because a hole can change, 40 feet to the left, even though on the map it shows one thing, but it's a little bit different. So if you are playing it blind, do the walkthrough, at least kind of give you a rough idea.
Just keep in mind, though, that it's not always updated either on it, because a lot of times some of the courses are on UDisc, but even then they're not updated. So sometimes getting like a brief overview from your sources, whatever,
just so you kind of know what you're looking for.
Yeah, kind of get an idea, and then get maybe there a little bit earlier than you think, just so you can go and be like, oh, that one hole number 7 or whatever, it showed this was over here, but then you go there and it's actually in a different placement.
Right.
Like, it's probably good to go and take a look at it.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's good. So,
Yeah.
Makes sense. So, yeah. So, again, same thing. Comment below if there's anything that you do to prep the day before a tournament. It could be, maybe you just stay up all night and just relax and just enjoy hanging out with friends and staying up late. That way you can sleep a little bit and just get deep sleep instead of worrying all night about how the tournament's going to be. So, anything you've got, just let us know in the comments below. Not a problem. Again, we appreciate everybody that shares the page and likes and subscribes. All right, so for the last topic, this is this is a topic that got us this past weekend. So we're going to talk about weather. Now, I'm not talking about whether or not you go to the tournament because of if it's raining or really cold. I try to play in all kinds of weather. Actually, this year I think I played 3 or 4 ice bowls. One of them was cold. 3 of them were raining the whole time.
Yeah, so wet and sloppy.
I've played in a lot of rainy condition tournaments, but I've not really played too many warm rounds, I guess I would say.
Yeah,
So
it's been a while.
Well, this was the first event where it had been 60 earlier in the week.
Yeah.
And then the day of the tournament, it was 85 was the high for the day.
Yeah, with humidity.
Yeah. And it was, well, I'm just going to show you a little clip of how out of shape and how unprepared I was for this tournament. So here we go.
All right, how are you feeling, babe?
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the rest of the holes that were at least downhill. So we'll have a few downhill before we have to go back uphill. But once we go uphill, we only have 3 more holes left. So,
It's a nice humid day out here today. First round was hot, but
85?
85, and now I think we're peak of 90?
Yeah.
Not enough water, our own fault. But it's our first tournament that we've been able to play in about,
2 months?
2 months, 3 months. So we're taking it in stride, I can only improve from here, right? Right, babe? We got this.
So, yeah, I'm definitely out of shape. COVID was part of that. Closed down the gyms, wasn't really getting out and playing like I normally did. And, of course, on my back didn't help. So I wasn't prepared. We thought we had enough water and things to drink. We packed a lunch. That course doesn't really have anything near us that we knew of to go get lunch. So we did take a box lunch. I mean, we PBs and J's. So nothing too crazy. So, the first part of it, I guess let's talk about cold weather first. So we'll go cold, hot, then just like a wet rain kind of round. So for cold weather, what do you like to have on you or in your bag to be prepared for the weather?
Hot hands is definitely my number one thing to have, especially when it's really, really cold. Like if it's just kind of like a cool fall, tournament, like where it's, kind of in like the 40s, 50s, like it's not unbearable. Like you can manage, but like when you start getting into like, the ice bowl temperature with, normal ice bowl, which is like under 32 degrees, like, you best believe I'm about to get me some hot hands. My Under Armour, something that's not going to be completely constricting on my arm. Like I know a lot of people wear sweatshirts and big jackets, and I just can't do it. If it keeps me warm, okay, I'll deal with it, but I can't have too much that's, restricting me from throwing too much, because I already get frustrated when it gets cold because my disc doesn't fly as far as they normally do when it's warm. And I found that Under Armour, it keeps me warm, but then also gives me, freedom of movement and everything like that to do what I need to do. But besides hot hands and making sure I have Under Armour, I always like to keep my head or my ears warm. So I always either have like a beanie cap on or just like the little headband to keep my ears warm, and then layer up on socks.
Yes. So socks is definitely key. Wool socks. I will usually wear something that's almost knee high, underneath my pants, especially when it is cold. Hot hands are always good. Can't go wrong with those. Even bring in an extra pair for your friends, even though during the tournament they're going to be your competitors. You always want to be nice, get some good karma, good juju before the round starts. So that's always good. I will say one thing is gloves. I know some people play with gloves on. I usually like to have just one glove. Mainly that's the glove to keep on my throwing arm, just so it'll kind of keep it warm and the fingertips not frozen. I really hate when you're trying to throw a big drive and then your fingertips feel like they just fell off from the flashing of a disc. I think that's probably it's the worst thing ever. Yeah. So literally, you go to throw, your hands are just frozen, and you go and throw, and next thing you know, your 3 fingers are gone. Like you don't even know where they went. They're just somewhere in the field, hopefully enjoying life. Probably not. So that's definitely one. I will say I'm opposite of her. I do like to wear the hoodies. I do not like jackets at all. So I will put on maybe like a thermal underneath my hoodie. So I do layer up, but I do, I try to stay as warm as possible. But sometimes, you get out there and you start playing and you're warm when you get to the course. But as you start playing, you get even warmer. Yeah. And then you have too much layers on. So then you try to shed a layer. Then the round's over. You put the layer back on. Then second round, it's just too much. So I'd rather just be prepared for what the round's going to be. And then I don't have to worry about trying to shed layers or anything like that.
Yeah, I get that.
So the next one let's talk about is hot weather. This is what we experienced a little bit this weekend. Now, 85 is not the hottest we've played in. No. Core Day Classic, it's probably been 5 years from that tournament. It was 101 degrees of day one. Hardly any trees on this course. It sits on top of a hill. It was a 2-day event. Second day was 100 as well. The TD at the time, Ricky Bowles, he had done a really good job. Parks and Rec, they made sure that it was literally like the Gatorade jugs filled with water on every hole. So literally every hole you went to, you were drinking almost at least 12 to 16 ounces of water on every hole. You're just getting dehydrated.
Yeah, most courses and TDs, if you go to a tournament and they're kind of aware that, the temperature is going to be upwards of, 90s and 100 degrees. Like they'll have coolers, like ice cold water or like spigots or something that's like every other hole or within 3 holes of each other so that people are, because some people, I don't know how you don't just not have water. Like some people just flat out don't bring anything and they just survive. And I don't see how that's possible. But
we didn't have enough. We did not have enough with us. We each had our own bottle of water for the first round, and it was sufficient. It lasted the first round pretty well. The good thing about Hollering Hills is the lower part where there's like a little I don't know, pond was cooler than the top of the hill. Of course, heat rises, fun science stuff. But that was the first round, and then the second round started, and maybe we just sat down too long. I don't know, but the second round. We were just dead. Yeah. And by we, mainly me because I'm out of shape. But
well, the thing is, we packed a cooler of lunch. So we had we had some fruit and applesauce, and we had like waters and things that would be a little bit more sustainable than us going to like a gas station and finding the junk at the gas station and all that. So we were smart and prepped with that. The bag that I was carrying carried the Gatorade, and Sam carried the water. And then we would switch them out with the cold water and the cold Gatorade after the first round for the second round. But for me, I don't know some of you guys out there and girls, I can't drink a whole lot of Gatorade throughout the round. Gatorade sits on me so heavy. And we had the Gatorade Zeros this weekend, and even the Gatorade Zero sat with me. And I know that it has like a lot of the electrolytes and the sodium and the things that you need to keep you hydrated, but I just can't do it. Like I need to just do strictly water. I think it's all I need to do because I felt weighted down from it, and I didn't want to just not drink anything because how hot it was. I wanted to make sure that I was staying hydrated.
Right. Well, and I agree to that. So Gatorade sits heavy. Honestly, probably on most people. Water, unfortunately, is just there's no flavor. Sometimes you need a little flavor in your life. But, No, I would agree. I mean, I think we had plenty of water and Gatorade for the round. We didn't have enough for the weather. So,
Yeah.
we weren't, I'm not going to say we drank it too fast or too slow, but I mean, we started our first hole. We had to walk up half the hill. And that alone, we were already, well, me, but, we were already out of breath because the weather was hot, with just, kind of a very dense, I guess you would say, air just because of humidity. And that was us. Now, other people probably different because, some people are in better shape than others. But I would say that was probably the biggest thing being hot was, just make sure that we had enough water, Gatorade, and one thing that saved us, and you'll see it once we post around, was we had a dry sack that probably saved our grip. I mean, our grip was getting very sticky. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a better word. I'm sure it's a better word for it, but it was sticky. So every shot we were using the birdie bag, which helped a lot. One of our good local buddies, Ryan Lamb, made some that we have, and they were nice. They helped us quite a bit. And I mean, I don't know, there's Well Sack, there's Birdie Bag, there's different companies out there that have them. I think there's like a mitten one looking shaped one.
Yeah,
So I mean,
I don't know about that.
I would suggest, especially if it's a hot round, so definitely make sure you have enough water, and a Well Sack or a Birdie Bag.
Yeah, make sure you have, those birdie bags to keep your hands, dry, not so sticky. If you're sweating a lot and like your hands just get wet, even that helps, dries your hand off and then putting it on your disc. But mostly for me, back to the video, as you can see, we had played several holes by that point and it was, 85, 90 degrees and humid. So it was a little hot and we definitely had not had enough water that day. We did discover later that there was a little spigot at the bottom of that hill that hole that we were playing that you saw in the video. So we were able to at least kind of fill up a little bit from there. But my big thing with hot weather especially is to make sure that, one, you have enough water with you. If you have a hydro flask or you have, extra bottles of water or a cooler of extra waters, make sure you bring that. And then always make sure you have extra snacks to keep you fueled throughout the round because you don't know how long your rounds are going to be. Like you said, like he was mentioning earlier, when we played Idlewild a long time ago, it was a 3 to 4 hour round. And by the time we were finished with our round, like we were starving. Like I think I'd eaten every snack I had in my bag, and it's just not, you need that extra fuel and hydration. So, we packed a lot of little jerkies and nuts and granola bars and trail mix and, things that are not like, I'm not saying get a big old king size candy bar. Like that's just not smart. So find things that's going to keep you fueled and sustained throughout, those longer rounds. Things that's not going to sit too heavy. Make sure you have plenty of water. And then make sure that you always have like something like a birdie bag to keep your hands dry.
And the kicker of all of it is a change of clothes and deodorant for the way home. And the reason I say this is you're sweating the whole time. You're wearing the same outfit for round 1, round 2. And we had a 2.5 hour drive with 4 people. Luckily, 3 of us brought a change of clothes. Now, the 4th guy at least changed his shirt, so he didn't smell that bad. I'm just kidding, Spriggs. I mean, I didn't mean to name drop. But, that I think that was the biggest thing is just on the way home is just feeling like we weren't still sweaty and gross. Now, don't get me wrong. When we got out of the car, we barely could walk because after walking so much, it was what, 10, right? A little at 10 miles?
10 miles.
Yeah. So, and again, you'll see all this stuff later about the round, which we'll post later. Try to get that up. Hopefully Saturday or Sunday. This will go, of course, live on Friday, which we plan on posting all of them. Mm-hmm. So, guys, again, same thing. So if you have any comments or anything you'd like to share about, what you do to prepare for the weather, just let us know. Like I said, keep in mind. So we're going to be the goal is to launch a episode every Friday. And then throughout the week, we'll probably post special clips or, maybe just a small teaser about something that's going on, advertising, stuff like that. So, again, like, subscribe, share, everything that's fun to do or the only thing to do on social media. We are trying to get our subscribers up there, so trying to get that mark up. So we are going to try to run a contest. We'll have more on that next week, just because we're trying to get our YouTube page going a little bit better. So if you have anything else that you want to talk about,
I do want to mention that I am actually going to be most likely to be just me. I don't know if he's going to join me or not, but I am planning on doing a bonus episode. It'll be just a brief Memorial Day episode since Memorial Day is coming up this weekend. And I wanted to make sure I paid tribute to that particular holiday that we have. So be on the lookout for the bonus episode that I've got coming out.
All right, guys. Well, it was good seeing everybody again, even though we can't really see you, but you can see us. So just if you got any comments, like I said, comment below, and yeah.
We're still learning. Bear with us.
Yeah.
We're just taking this each, day by day. And if you have any topics or anything you want to see us talk about, drop a comment. Let us know. We're open to any suggestions. We have a couple of ideas for the next few episodes at least, and as we do trips and tournaments, we'll definitely come up with more. And, who knows, we might have some other bonus episodes that we'll throw in there every now and then, whether it's just me or if Sam just does one on his own, like they'll be there. We're not going anywhere. But if you have anything you want us to do, drop a line, let us know, and make sure you like, subscribe, and follow us.
All right. Well, this is Sam and Jennifer. So today you got to learn what was up with the Wheelings.
See you next time.
But we do know that we've got what? Tennessee State's. Oh, you gonna smile? Are you really gonna smile like that?